Hello my friends and welcome back. Here on this photo you can already see a little sneak peek of what's coming in this video. It's dear Putin holding on to dear life because his baby and pride and jewel, the Kerch bridge, was hit again. We'll get to it, of course, before I have a lot of information to go through, because this was the second attack in a few days that is massive in many infinite scales. I mean, we begin with destroying 34% of Russia's nuclear-capable bomber fleet, and then the attack against the Kerch bridge. This series of events is absolutely mind-blowing, and so mind-blowing that Ukraine has achieved something that no one else in the history of mankind has managed. They silenced Trump for 2 days. This has never happened, and it will never happen again. So you know it's massive because Trump has not shown his face for 2 days or spoken a public word. It means what it means. You all heard about that Operation Spiderweb now, of how SBU blew up 34% of Russia's nuclear-capable Tu-95s. Well, the big thing about that is they did not get any US help. US did not share their intelligence. Ukraine did their own recon, their intelligence, and planned and executed this operation all by themselves. Hence, it took 18 months of preparations to do this. It was massively successful, but maybe that's why Trump is silent, because it's a blow to them also if Ukraine can do these kind of operations without the US help, because it again shows that Zelensky has more cards than Trump in some senses, that he cannot be pushed around because he can make his own operations, if you want to put it that way. And before we go to real satellite images and serious information, I have one more photo to show you. This was the air alert map after the big attack on June the 1st. Russia attacked Ukraine back with missiles and drones, and this was the air alert. But as you can see on Luhansk border, there are these 5 trucks on official Ukrainian air alert map. I mean, this is Ukrainians trolling the Russians to oblivion as much as they can. These actual trucks here, which carried the drones, which destroyed the Tu-95s, which, the ones that were not destroyed are carrying the missiles that fired into Ukraine, caused this map to be made. I mean, it's a massive circle, right? So let's look at the Russian losses chart. It's June the 2nd to June the 3rd. And you can see aircraft plus 41. I mean, this I've never seen before, and I never will again, I think. It's absolutely beautiful. They lost almost as many aircraft as they did artillery systems. All right, my friends, we're gonna get serious now. So, everybody's talking about this Operation Spiderweb. Everybody's throwing around price tags. The number we hear a lot is $7 billion worth of Russian planes destroyed. Yeah, you can put a price to them, but you can't. The simple fact that there is no way to replace these planes. You can throw around 100 million, 250 million, whatever. You can throw around billions. Russia can't replace them for $1 billion anytime soon. They don't have the manufacturing capabilities anymore. They don't have the tooling. They don't have the workers. They will never be replaced, no matter how much they valued at. Even if Russia would throw 10 billion at it, they couldn't replace them. They would have to train the workforce, import the tools from Germany or whatever first world country that makes these tools, that made these planes. They would have to buy Western chips, that are inside these planes at the time that they were made. The engines, nothing about this plane is made anymore, so they cannot be made again. But they can be unmade, which is what Ukraine is doing. Wow. So yeah, you can throw away you can throw around the phrase 7 billion, but in fact, you cannot put a price to them. Talking about what you cannot put a price to, A-50. The early warning and control, the AWACS plane, A-50. Russians are not making them right now anymore. They're modernizing the old ones, but they have a very finite amount of them, and they are very capable and very necessary for shooting missiles at Ukrainian civilians, unfortunately. The thing is, supposed Ukraine destroyed 2. Why I say supposedly? Because we're going to go through a massive amount of satellite images about Tu-95s being destroyed, but there's satellite images about A-50s. They're a bit grainy and a bit gooey, so we cannot be for sure. But the thing is, after the attack, claims went around on the Ukrainian side that some people, for example Michael Weiss here, just watched a video showing Ukrainian FPVs hitting 2 Russian A-50s. Can't share the video just yet, but this confirms scuttlebutt from SBU that they knackered 2 irreplaceable Soviet-era early warning and control aircraft. Russia only has 6 operational. Well, now 4. Yes, these aircraft are rumored to cost 250 million, whatever price you put on them. The thing is, you take it out, they will never be made again. Never. So this guy and some other dudes have come out with this info that they have seen some piece of footage that has not been shared to public of FPVs hitting 2 A-50s, clear cut. So I leave it up to you to confirm that. One we can confirm on the satellite photos destroyed, but the other one, look at yourself, look at yourself. From new satellite images, Ivanovo-Severny Air Base, 1 A-50 is confirmed to be destroyed, and the second one is hit. Not sure if unrepairable. The thing is, these A-50s filled with ancient tech that still works and still is very usable as a flying radar system. They're modernized also, then they're filled with Russian modern tech. Thing is, if some shrapnel, some small particles penetrate through those radar systems, chips, wiring, it's done. You cannot replace, you cannot repair. It's done if there will be some small shrapnel holes. So it's very hard for me to understand how a plane like the A-50 can be damaged. Since if you damage it, you kind of destroy it. Because in this sense, in this place where Russia is now, they cannot repair these things. So yeah, I wouldn't go as bold as to say 2 destroyed, but 1 destroyed, 1 damaged. And these are the rarest and I would say the most expensive planes Russia has, period. A very certain famous individual would say, very nice. And just for the heck of it, let's watch some more satellite photos because, hey, I'm yapping here. You want to see what you want to see, right? What am I talking about? Okay. We got destroyed Tu-22M3 right here. We got destroyed Tu-22M3. Okay, 3 Tu-22M3s destroyed on this specific satellite photo. Let's look at the next one. We got Tu-95s and 4 of them all destroyed, confirmed. These are not damaged. These are gone, fully gone. Oh, you want more visual confirmations? Well, here we go. I'll just read you the list first and then we'll look into it because it's all just a very big wow. Olenia Air Base. This is OSINT, Open Source Intelligence Analysis guys like me analyzing public footage. But there are pieces of footage that SBU has not publicized. So there are definitely many more destroyed than here. But these are the ones that we can see and you can see. Olenia Air Base. 4 Tu-95s. 1 Antonov-22, Belaya Air Base, 3 Tu-95s, 4 Tu-22M3s, Ukrainka Air Base. See, we didn't get any footage from this air base at all. 4 air bases were attacked, but only 2 of them we got videos of. So other 2, maybe 50% of the destruction, we have no visual confirmation, but the SBU does. Tu-95 damaged, Ivanovo Air Base, Ilyushin 76 and A-50. Possibly 2 of them, and Yagilova Air Base, no confirmed damaged. So these numbers are already massive on their own, but there's many, many more. And I'm not going to go through all of it. Links are in the description below. Go and have fun in the rabbit hole, my friends. Here is just a very nice visual representation of what happened before and after. Check it out. Tu-95s, 3 of them blown to smithereens. Very nice. I'm a DJ. Boom, 1 billion gone. Boom. Oh, it's beautiful. Again, cannot really put a number to these. Now, this is just a small little summary, nice visual confirmation photo, compilation photo. If you don't want to go through the links, just look at this photo and it's all good. But now, my friends, you and me, we're going to watch a short 1-minute video It's an animated way to explain us what really happened. And Ukrainians, I mean, there's much more cleverness to this than you would expect, not about the tech, but the psychological effects of this kind of attack. We'll go into it because we can see it all across Russia now. I mean, every truck driver is a suspect. Can you imagine a country as big as Russia, what kind of a logistical chaos this would make?
Ukrainian engineers designed a clever drone launching system disguised as ordinary wooden cabins mounted on the backs of cargo trucks. These mobile containers looked like simple rural sheds, but inside they held reinforced...
I can just imagine Borat going inside, it's like, nice, making some rolling carts inside, it's like, king of the castle, yeah.
Structures, hidden launch platforms, battery charging stations, and remote-controlled roof mechanisms. The design allowed for drones to be launched either vertically or at an angle, depending on their type, while built-in signal shielding helped them avoid early detection by Russian surveillance. Once these mobile silos were ready, Ukrainian intelligence operatives, possibly with help from local sympathizers, moved them deep into Russian territory.
And we know who these truck drivers, local sympathizers are, the ones who made this thing happen. We know who they are. Russians know who they are. We're going to look like true heroes, the guy who did this.
The trucks were quietly driven to pre-selected sites near key air bases, parked in places like forests, farms, or industrial areas where they blended into the landscape. They remained dormant for days or even weeks, with drones preloaded, charged, and waiting for the command to strike. When the time came, encrypted activation signals were sent remotely. The roofs of the containers slid open and the drones lifted off, some vertically, others using ramps or compressed air launch systems for a silent start. Because the launch sites were positioned just a few kilometers around 2 miles from their targets, the drones were able to reach their objectives quickly, leaving little time for Russian defenses to react. Operators guided them in real time using live video feeds, steering the drones with precision toward parked aircraft, fuel depots, and radar installations.
Beautiful and genius. And now we go to the psychological effects of it. We'll touch upon this topic in the end of the video also. It's too big to show it in one video. But the thing is, you use a regular truck with a truck driver that has no idea what's going on. Some of the drivers didn't know what's in the back. So now every truck, every delivery truck is now a potential drone in disguise in Russia. And there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of these trucks driving around in Russia that look the same as the ones that just destroyed 34% of Russian nuclear carriers. Trucks might have caused more heart attacks than vodka. And to just show you the illustration, there's a big truck, oh my god, this girl is freaking out about this truck. I guess it's just a regular truck carrying whatever needs to be carried every day to the city or out of the city. I mean, these trucks need to move to feed the cities, to keep the logistics going, to keep the country going. If you hit that with psychological fear that every truck carries drones, you mobilize Russians' paranoia and fear against their own system, against their own military. This will clog the police lines. This will clog the security checkpoints. I mean, it's a massive... I cannot say enough how genius this is. Look at these truck lines now. This is just one of thousands of truck lines, traffic jams of trucks that now need to be checked. And none of them have drones. But they are slowed down by hours, by days, maybe some for weeks. Businesses cannot now operate, and there is a massive level of fear in the Russian society and a massive hit to the image of Russian invincibility. Done by trucks and cheap drones. Again, this is genius in so many levels. And also cheap. Because these trucks are, like, Ukraine is not pumping any money into this operation. Now Russians are taking over. The fear, you cannot buy this kind of massive paranoia with money. This is pure psychological manipulation. But who is the real hero? I mean, let me bring him to you. He is already in Ukraine. Don't worry about it. He's alive and well. Russian citizen, Ukrainian agent. Artem Timofeyev. 37. Suspected of organizing drone strikes on Russian air bases, became a Russian citizen years ago, registered a private entrepreneur in 2024 and bought 4 trucks later used in the June 1st attacks. All 4 trucks, how suspicious. His social media shows strong pro-Ukrainian views. A former DJ and Euromaidan supporter, Dimofeev previously lived in Kyiv before moving to Russia after the war began. Despite clear pro-Ukrainian ties, he faced no scrutiny when acquiring citizenship, buying trucks or renting warehouses. And we got to the warehouses, remember that. The trucks were loaded with drones used to strike targets like Bela Air Base. He hired drivers from Chelyabinsk, now arrested, and reportedly fled Russia with his wife just before the attacks. He is the real hero here, and the warehouses we're talking about also. This is the FSB operators arriving in one of the locations, not the Chelyabinsk one, the other one near the Kazakhstan border. The thing is, they couldn't even locate this warehouse even after the attacks. It took Western OSINT analysis, guys like me doing geolocations on photos based on some bushes and some lines. And then they arrived at this location after this location was geolocated by Western military analysts, after SBU published photos of inside and outside of this warehouse. It's such a failure in so many levels that the FSB needs to wait for SBU to publish photos, then for military analysts in the West to geolocate them, and then FSB goes and arrives. And you know what they find? Nobody. Everybody's gone. Where is everybody? By the way, this gets even bigger. It truly is a spider web, because the web is, tangling even bigger and bigger. Russia planned Operation Zeus Lightning, largest ever cruise missile attack on all of Ukraine for the night of the June 1st, to force Ukraine's hand at Istanbul the next day. They have this peace conference or whatever. It's a sham. It's just a show for Trump because he wants to see that, the Russians to buy time. But Ukrainian drones destroyed many of these very bombers, which were already fueled hours before they were to take off. We're talking here about 2,000 cruise missiles. This would have been absolutely massive, biggest in the history of Russia, biggest in any country's history, 2,000 cruise missiles. So, just hours before this was supposed to happen, these bombers were destroyed on the ground. It's just too good to be a coincidence. I think Ukraine knew. And now a lot of people, pro-Russian shills are saying, oh, you poked the bear, Russia's gonna retaliate. What? Ukraine has been bombarding Russia for years now with drones, bombarding their oil refining capabilities, bombarding their planes, now on the ground, bombarding everything they can, making massive cyber attacks, everything. There's nothing Russia can do. The only thing they can do is a nuclear attack, which they're not gonna do, because they're not. But there is nothing they can escalate to. They're already bombarding civilians in Kharkiv and Kyiv and Sumy, in Zaporizhia, everywhere. What are they going to do more of that? They're already doing that almost daily. So people are saying, okay, now you're going to see Russia's going to roll up the sleeves. Well, Russian troops go and charge Ukrainian positions with motorcycles and donkeys. Where are they going to escalate on the front? How can you escalate from bombarding civilians? You're already at the top of the escalation. There's nowhere to go. Russia is all in, has been from the start of the war. There's gonna be no significant response to it. I so much enjoy these latest videos, my friends. Monday was like peak, and today also. And I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna get to the Kerch bridge. Yes, you have been waiting for it. Me too, my friends. I've been dreaming of this moment. But before we get to it, I gotta name some Buy Me a Coffee monthly members. When I say some, I only mean 2, because we only got 2 now. But if you want to make this list longer, then sign up to Buy Me a Coffee monthly membership. Links in the description below. Ole Jon Bjorkum. Hey, you gotta be Danish or Norwegian or one of the Nordics, because I can really pronounce your name. Bill Koiski. Thank you to you two guys, you legendary dudes making this channel happen. Thank you, my friends. Alright, Now, I kid you not when I say Kerch Bridge. It's not a clickbait, it's not a meme. Well, this one is a meme you see on the screen, but it really happened. Something big went kaboom on the Kerch Bridge foundation. We go through all of the footage, all of the analysis, so after this video you know everything there is to know. Putin is saying, this is the worst day of my life. The worst day of your life so far, says Zelensky. Yes, because Putin began the week with losing 1/3 of his nuclear capabilities, bomber capabilities. And now Zelensky comes in with these, trucks, submarines, because the Kerch Bridge was hit underwater. So it has to be a truck, right? It gotta be a truck, obviously. Okay, all jokes aside, my friends, let's get serious now. Ukraine's SBU mined multiple underwater pillars supports of the Kerch Bridge over 4 months and detonated the first 1,100 kilogram explosive at 4:44 a.m. The bridge, vital for Russia's ability to maintain occupation of Crimean Peninsula, is now in critical condition. And you want to see something? Do you want to see something? Well, I'll show you something. Look at that. Ooh, this is the biggest export of freedom I've seen outside of Ukraine. Underwater export of freedom. Let's watch that again. See this? These are extra defense systems. They're earthworks put inside these circles here. It's really hard to ram these bridge pillars with them, with the marine drones, because they have defense barriers, as you can see. But if you mine them, which Ukraine did, you can blow them up. Now, it might not look big. The bridge did not collapse, as you can see on the video. But wait, really wait. There's something here. Let's go first through what the locals saw. So you're a citizen minding your own business in Crimea, part of the occupying empire, and suddenly you see this, the bridge, your lifeline, your umbilical cord is burning from 4 different locations. Wow, wow. This is when I would start making Borat jokes. Okay, enough of the jokes. What exactly happened? We have here a semi-physical explanation of what went down, and the bridge did not collapse. But the thing is, with bridges like that, if you damage their foundation and the foundation below the foundation, the spikes that go deep underwater, it just becomes so unstable, so unsafe that they cannot use it. Water is incompressible. Explosions generate hot gases that propagate the energy in an expanding gas ball in the water, HO2, until the energy released is overcome by water pressure. The water then collapses the hot gas bubble and raises the geyser of escaped gas at the surface. The explosion position and mud in the geyser. So what mud is he talking about? Well, you can see the mud right here. The explosion brings up a lot of dark mud, meaning we know it's very close to where the mud is. It's on the seafloor or on the foundation. Shows that the explosive device was next to the pillar and on the seafloor. My guess is either a robotic operated vehicle. Belgium gave one to Ukraine. Placed the explosive device, or a ZAB drone. See, that's the thing that people think it was. Underwater torpedo drone. Basically a torpedo, long-range torpedo that you can guide live. But I think it was a bomb installed there with a robot, with an explosive charge motored up next to the column. In either case, the Ukrainian explosive device was flat-shaped charge, meant to cut deep into the concrete column to sever the steel rebar of the Kerch Bridge structure. And what rebar? Well, I'm glad you asked. Look at that. This is the foundation, and this is the rebar of concrete and metal going deep underground. These tubes or piles or pillars, right? You damage these and the whole thing becomes unstable. To fix this, they gotta dig it all up and pour it again. So damaging them is the fastest way to take out this bridge. If you damage this concrete column on top of the ground here, they can just build another one. But if you damage it underground, they gotta completely rebuild the whole foundation system. The fact that the camera is shaking so much suggests that this explosion is bigger than may actually appear. Stepping through the video shows really interesting physics. With a lot of mud blasted out of the water, there are lots of splashes from small bits, possibly bridge debris. And we saw the mud already, we're seeing the debris, and of course we're seeing the on top of water part of the explosion, which is the top of the iceberg, as you would say. The boom underneath might have been much more massive. So these are the pillars that Ukraine was after, the bomb was after, to destroy these pillars. And we can see these very same pillars when the Kerch bridge was destroyed, it was built. This is one of the photos, what the pillars looked like. So they're pretty massive. One of these tubes only is 1.4 meters in diameter, so you would need a massive amount of explosives to destroy them. But the thing is, this bridge is used so much and it has to carry so much weight, because this is a railway bridge also. If you make it unstable, if you make it crack, if you damage these pillars and it becomes unstable, it's too dangerous to operate, even if it could, but you cannot verify it. Are you going to send a train over it to test it? And here is a video of a Ukrainian underwater drone, or a drone torpedo, whatever you want to call it. This one can be guided with like an FPV, only it's underwater. Why am I talking about this? Because after the Kerch bridge bombing, a few moments later, Russians started screaming online about Ukrainian maritime drones and underwater drones, that's their Telegram chatter, reaching the barriers, trying to break through the barriers, exploding onto the barriers for the next ones to go through. So there was an explosion and then a wave of maritime drone attacks, supposedly some of them being underwater also. I will bring you now some of the snippets of the Russian Telegram channels discussing the damage to the bridge and what can be done. There was a massive crack that appeared across the entire support. So the pillar tubes, as you could see them from the photo, we don't know how much of them were destroyed, but the massive concrete pillar that hold the bridge structure, that is cracked across all the way, which is really, really bad. For us, of course, very nice. Now, Russians, in this video, it's a Russian Lancet drone, FPV Lancet drone, taking out a Ukrainian maritime drone that was in the second wave of attack against the barriers defending the bridge, because you got to break them before you can get to the bridge itself. In this instance, this specific Ukrainian drone did not reach because a Lancet took it out. I saw an explosion here also. Look at that connecting into it. Yeah, taking it out. This is what they have to resolve to. And the bang happens and the drone loses propulsion, so it's pretty much dead. Here we have a satellite photo analyzing the change of, 1st of June, 3rd of June, There's a very slight change seen from space, even from satellites, but it's so small we cannot confirm anything, just for the fact that there only is a change. This is the structure near the support pillar, 1st of June, 3rd of June is gone. Blown to smithereens, blown to outer space. But time will only tell to us if Russians are able to fix it up very quickly or not. The true fact is it needs a lot of fixing before they can actively use it again. But again, as I said about the psychological effect of these attacks, again, there is massive panic in Crimea now. There are rumors spreading regarding a Ukrainian land invasion. With the Kerch bridge out of commission, the land route is the only exit of entrance, and that is under Ukrainian fire control in multiple places. The Russians are expecting that today or the coming days, there will be massive attacks all across Crimea. Now, my friends, I am here to say to you, I'm very sure of myself, there will be no Ukrainian land invasion in any time soon to Crimea. No way. But hey, the more the Russians panic, the better. Fear is a mind killer. It takes away your ability to think and analyze into effective things. So if they want to be afraid, that's nice. But there's not going to be a land invasion of Crimea anytime soon. And here I just bring you snippets of Russian Telegram chatter being extremely panicky about the second wave of attacks that happened after the explosion. They're screaming about it. Yeah, beautiful to watch, of course. And a few hours after this bombing, Ukraine released the missiles, Neptune missiles, anti-ship missiles converted to be used against land targets. Well, Neptune missiles targeted Crimean Peninsula and specifically Sevastopol Navy port infrastructure. Now this they can do. This would be a massive attack on Crimea, but definitely not a land invasion. But this definitely will happen. And then yesterday, Ukraine released over 100 drones to be flying into Russia, attack different targets all across Russia. We have plenty of videos. Even a 15 clicks southwest of the Kremlin, you can hear the drones flying. And this comes after the attack on the nuclear bombers, then the bombing of the Kerch bridge, and now this. I mean, Ukraine is on a streak, hitting and hitting. You have seen Mike Tyson's these combos when he just goes, bam, enemy down. I feel this is one of these combos, just banging and bouncing one after another. Russians just panicking, losing their clear heads. I mean, we still haven't heard any reaction from Putin himself about the, first of all, attack on the bombers and then Kerch bridge bombing. Putin went silent, much like he did on the Wagner mutiny, Prigozhin's march on Moscow. Putin went silent for what, almost a week. We haven't heard anything. It's a similar situation. Believe me, heads will roll in Russia. People will be falling out of the windows. Planes will explode. I'll end this video to hammer in the point even more because this is the perfect summary. I love this the most because psychological effects are almost impossible to buy with money. You gotta make your operations in a way that these effects are like a secondary effect, but they do happen, but you cannot put a price tag to it, because if millions of soldiers are affected, for example, with some kind of fear or thought or paranoia, how can you put a price tag to it? How can you know how much damage it really does to this army? So, Ukraine didn't hide the details of the mission. Yeah, did you notice? After Operation Spiderweb happened, they published almost everything online immediately. Instead, it laid them bare, weaponizing transparency. The result? Paranoia as policy. Every Russian cargo truck is now a potential threat. Every driver a suspect. After the operation, traffic jams paralyzed places like Irkutsk as Russian authorities scrambled to inspect shipments. Ooh, it's beautiful. Surveillance units were redirected, highways clogged, logistics, both military and civilian, began to stall. Trust in contractors evaporated, internal collapse began, not with explosions, but with suspicion. And today, Ukraine deployed the same strategy again, this time against the Crimean bridge. And this is, I cannot put it into words how perfect this is, with one sentence. Right after the strike, Ukrainian special services issued a statement, and I quote, "The first explosive device was activated." One sentence, and now Russian engineers are combing every pillar in panic, wondering what else might be hidden. Maybe there is no other explosives, but Russians have to divert massive amount of time and energy and people with skills to search for these explosives which are not there. Russia is hunting for an invisible internal enemy. Explosives on the pillars, truck divers that actually carry drones. They're chasing a shadow. This is asymmetric warfare, Ukrainian style. Ukraine doesn't need to match Russia's plane for plane. It only needs to force Russia to doubt the integrity of its own systems. When a state starts doubting its own infrastructure, it begins to implode from the inside. This is just beautiful. I feel like I'm falling asleep at night. It's the end of a beautiful fairy tale right now, just falling asleep. It's so beautiful, man. Wonderful. I love psychological effects of these operations, because you can put a price tag on a missile. You can put a price tag on what that missile destroys. But you cannot put a price tag if 500,000 Russian soldiers are paranoid and are afraid of you and are searching for shadows. A price tag of how much time will be lost, how much energy will be lost, and how much attention they will divert away from real issues. So this is absolutely beautiful. But now, my friends, I'll bring to you a members-only video. I do these time to time. And this one is Estonian Army style. These badges will make Russians cry. Design, history and rating. I have almost all Estonian units here and their badges and their history, and I rate them, I look at them, I talk about the history, I talk about my own service in Kuperianov Infantry Battalion, but it's only for channel members, of course. So if you want to watch this video, become a member of my channel to get extra weekly videos on Saturdays. You click here, you pay $1 and done. $1 a month and you're ready to go. Join up, my friends. And as usual, until my next video, Slava Ukraini and bye bye.